Do you know when you emailed it to me?
Emily, I'll resend it to you real fast.
Okay.
It was Friday, last week Friday, when I emailed it. But you know, again, I can share my screen right now, so we don't keep people waiting.
Please,
Yeah, Laura,
please go
you've
ahead,
got it.
Laura.
Okay.
Louisa, did you resend it?
I'm doing it right now. Sorry, I had to reboot my email up.
Okay, so can everyone?
Perfect.
Wait.
Perfect. Looks good, Laura.
Can everyone see this?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, because I don't see it. All right. It's new to me too. All right, so we're moving to the first part where we're gonna say a few things about each of our stores. So Madeline, why don't you start with Conestoga?
Yeah, so we just wanted to give an overview to our store so you guys can kind of have some context to what we're about to dive into. So here at Conestoga, we have about 12,000 full-time students and 30,000 part-time students. Pre-COVID, only about 9% of our sales were online and fulfilled through shipping or in-store pickup. And now that's shifted for us to 100% of our sales are done online now. Our status here in Ontario is we are still closed to the public and we've never been open to the public. And to accommodate kind of our students, we are currently shipping worldwide for free. We also did a limited curbside pickup in the fall term for some of our larger kits that are very difficult to mail and for students that were on campus. And we are a bookware school. And then I'll turn it over to Louisa.
Thanks, Madeline. So just to follow along the same format, UBC, we're about 66,000 full-time enrollment. And pre-COVID, our online sales comprised 12% of our total store sales. And then post-COVID, that has now shifted to a little over half. And the reason that number is not 100% is because we did reopen in about mid-May with reduced hours. And so we're still getting traffic into our store and getting in-person sales. Initially, we were offering free shipping on orders. I think we started actually on all orders, and then we set a threshold on that. So purchases had to be over $30 to qualify for free shipping, and then we bumped it up to $50. And then we said, you know what, never mind, we're not going to do this anymore. I think we are going to be, as a promotion starting in February, doing free shipping again with orders that are over $100. We offer in-store pickup, but the location of that has changed in our store. So instead of being in the back of the store, we have that now in the upper mezzanine at the very front of our store, which means customers are able to come in, only route through the very top part of our store and leave without having to enter the store proper. And then we are a RATEC school.
Oh, you're
Laura,
muted.
you're on mute. Greg, can you unmute Laura or Steve?
No, we cannot unmute remotely.
Just 1 second. I had a bar right above the, the mic, so I couldn't manage that. So so everyone can hear me now. All right, so at York University, we have a bit over 55,000 full-time students with close to 9,000 international students. Prior to COVID, the online sales were a very small part of our total sales, just a little bit over 7%. because we had to close the store. Our sales have been 100% online since last spring. We offer free shipping in Canada only. We do charge for returns if they are not caused by internal mistakes, because those happen too. Starting with September, we offer in-person pickup by appointment only, and we are running on Prism Core from Nebraska. So I think we can move now to the next section, where we're going to highlight like a success in remote delivery, and we're starting again at Conestoga.
Thanks, Laura. So our success that I wanted to focus on today, I am the course materials manager, so it's going to be a course materials focused success story. But because our store went fully online and our students aren't having that same interaction where they can come into the store and ask us questions about alternatives and learn about how to redeem a digital access code and those things, a lot of our focus was ensuring that at the point of purchase, we were making it very obvious for students on what they're purchasing. So I'm going to need Laura to stop sharing her screen, and I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to walk you guys through how our personal book lists work and some of the enhancements we've made in this remote environment to make it really obvious for students on what they're purchasing, which also in turn relieves the amount of questions they're going to ask later about their purchases. So Laura, you'll just have to stop sharing. I think at the bottom right. Steve can correct me if I'm wrong. Amazing. Thanks, everyone. All right. And everyone can see my screen here, the Conestoga Bookstore. Perfect. Okay. I couldn't see your heads nod. So this is our homepage here. So one of the features we had before this online environment was already our personal book list. So this is a really great feature that students use. So all that they have to do to find out what they need is enter in their student number. So I will show you guys some examples now. So you just enter in the student number and you hit enter, and the book list will populate. So some things I wanted to note that we've really improved on our book lists and encourage you guys to do if you can. Again, I am a Bookware school and happy to help with those specific examples. But sometimes students don't know when they buy a digital book that they're buying a digital book, and they'll often email us saying, "Where's my order? Where's my shipment? My order hasn't come." And I'm sure you've all had similar questions. And so we've really utilized the feature where we have a lot of notes now in our product offering. So here, something very obvious is this is a digital product. You will be emailed an access code to this product upon purchase. Please follow the instructions in that email. Again, we do rely on students to read these notes, but we find them very helpful, and we're getting less and less questions about the status of students' orders that have ordered a digital product. It also gives them some assurance to know what to expect once they buy this product. Another feature, if we keep going down this book list, is we do have a large inclusive access program at this college in which resources are included with the course. So the awesome part about our notes features here as well is that we actually can link videos. So one thing that we've really worked on improving is again, giving some more information. And so it really tells a student that, hey, like a student, if we just had this blue part, they might be like, well, where am I getting it? But here it really states this is something that can be found, here, and here's a video that we actually can just link to, and it will open and it will show a student their purchase, kind of how they're going to find it. So we'll actually can link right to videos that help students that way too. So that's one example I just wanted to highlight there. Another example is things we can also now link to, so I know there's some situations where we might want to direct students elsewhere to purchase when we can't provide something for a certain reason. And the goal with this book list, tying into yesterday's presentation, is to create a good experience that's also sometimes convenient. So we really want this book list to be a place where students can find everything that they need. So for example, this title is only purchasable right now as this digital PDF. So we've actually linked the material right here. So if a student clicks on it, it will direct them right to where to purchase, which is also an awesome feature because then the student doesn't have to wonder or email us how to get these things. And then another example is because of the online environment and because we're one of the only places on campus that can actually facilitate these students' orders and mail the things out. We have had a lot of different opportunities come to us from different departments in assisting students getting what they need. Things that maybe would have handed out in class, but now they're required to purchase and work from home. So some things, for an example, I wanted to show you was an electrical parts kit. So this is just one example of an area that asked us to now bring these items in-house and ship them to the students. So this is another example where we've really included, the item unfortunately isn't very descriptive. So by utilizing notes and giving people more information, it really helps them during their product purchase to eliminate some of those questions in the future. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, which I think I have done. And so that's kind of my highlight is, again, utilizing the book list to minimize the amount of questions we might get later on, because I know we're all getting inundated with emails and chats and those kind of things, to really create an efficient yet good experience and a convenient experience for our students in knowing what to purchase. So I will pass it along now to the next presenter.
Thank you, Madeline. So at UBC, so first of all, I think I'm going to give the same disclaimer that Madeline gave. I'm a GM person, so my focus does tend to be a little GM oriented, but I'm going to cover that and something else in terms of our successes. So first of all, there are a few things that we were able to pivot on really quickly, one of which was a massive effort to upload more GM products to our website. So in the span of about 8 months or so, we were able to upload close to 4,000 new general merchandise products and about 13,000 trade book titles. And so our goal moving forward is to have 100% of UBC branded items and trade books available for purchase on our website. What that means is we had to rapidly train and onboard staff to do this. And for most giftware and clothing products, that means that we were photographing, writing copy, doing all of the nitty-gritty bits to get those things up online. And so while we transitioned from 12% to 52% of online sales, what that means actually when you look at category is something kind of dramatic. So for instance, prior to COVID, about 4% of all clothing sales in the store were done online, and now that number is closer to 35%. So having that massive push to get as much stuff up online as possible, I think is a really big success for us. The other thing that I wanted to mention is on the next slide, Laura. Thank you. is we also identified kind of mid-September that we were going to need a massive effort to cross-train all of our staff in the store on the operations of our online store. So we've got about 70 some odd staff members in our store, and with this massive swing to online purchasing, we realized that a lot of the people in our store were not able to answer inquiries around online orders. And so answering simple questions like, when will my order be ready, and things like that were things that, from a customer service perspective, you absolutely want anyone in your store to be able to answer that question, like go to a terminal and look that information up. So I worked with a couple of colleagues to develop some online training courses that we have available now through our learning management system. And so there's 5 courses, these 5 right here, that when our staff member log into the LMS, we use Canvas here, they can add that to their educational protocol or whatever, and take those courses. And so, you know, this is an example. When they log in, they'll see, you know, this what you'll learn slide is an overview. The customer experience screenshot on the top right shows a video. So we're actually recorded videos and have those available for them to work through. And then that's capped off by basically just really brief quizzes to help reinforce that learning. And so this is something that we implemented in the months between September and January, and we're looking to expand on that a little bit more now. So having brief clips that are available. So if someone is saying, okay, I know I took this training, but I can't remember exactly how to cancel an order, for instance, they can go and watch a 30-second clip. So making all of that information available to all of our staff really, in my opinion, has helped improve the customer experience, because now when a customer, if they come in the store or they call on the phone and have a question about their order, anyone in our store should be able to help that person, and we're not passing them off to someone and going, oh, you know, I'm not sure, but let me send you down that walkway and go talk to that person and they might know. So trying to cut down on that frustration was a big target of ours, and something I think we did really well. So those are our 2 successes for UBC, and I'm going to pass it over to York now.
Thank you, Louisa. Well, like other stores, we had so many great accomplishments this year, and it is hard to pick one. But we know that all these successes combined had one important effect, which is our biggest success story. We became an efficient distribution center, and that is reflected in our customer service high ratings that I want to share with you here. Right, so we had a survey. We ran a survey at the end of September, where more than 5,500 customers participated, and I want to share just a few things related to this survey. So overall satisfaction with the bookstore is very high. 91% of students said that the overall experience with the bookstore met or exceeded their expectations. Only 21% of students said the experience last September, basically an in-store experience, was better versus 38% this year. Satisfaction with how students received their orders was high for both delivery and pickup. In September, the bookstore shipped 24,000 orders in an average of 23 hours and 48 minutes to be exact. And we want to say that because we want to be able to say under 24 hours versus 79 hours last year. 92% of students said that the amount of time it took to receive their orders met or exceeded their expectations. So many students received within a day or two from their order date. For pickup, 96% of students said that the overall experience met or exceeded their expectations, and the majority of students prefer that we continue to require appointments for pickup after COVID-19. Obviously, customer service was efficient, but there is more. There is always an opportunity to improve there. We addressed more than 8,000 customer questions through a self-help tool. And a team of 6 staff responded to more than 3,500 questions by phone, email, and mostly through an online form, which I will show you a little bit later in the presentation. Right, so we can move to the next section, or if there are any questions, we can start to answer some of them. Emily, if you have anything there or anything.
I think just kind of let's go, and then I have a few questions that I can interject.
Of
So,
course.
Madeline, are you going to talk about Conestoga first?
Yeah. So the first question that we thought we'd all kind of address together in our own unique ways was, what was the most immediate change that needed to be made to make web orders scalable? So I know we were all probably sitting there in March having the same question all pop into our head. And so for me, because so few of our orders before were done this way, we really needed to change the store layout. And in addition to getting more things online, we needed to make sure the store layout could accommodate our web orders. So we spent a lot of time in the summer rearranging our store to make sure that we could efficiently pick orders, keep like program items together, make sure books are, there's extras right below it. The beautiful part of that is it doesn't need to look super pretty for customers. It just needed to make sense for our team. So, spending a lot of time making our floor make sense to fulfill orders. We also had to, think about the adjustment in staffing too. We really needed to make sure that we had to hire people or shift people whose sole focus would be to pick and pack web orders in a way that made sense for us and for them to really know the layout of the stores. One of our, not biggest, thoughts that we had kind of was, how are we going to adapt to the exchange and returns in this new reality, right? It's not as easy as someone coming into the store anymore just to exchange something. There's shipping back and forth involved. And so we currently have implemented kind of a forms system where students can ask us to fill out a form, and let us know what they need to return in exchange. And we kind of look at them on a case-by-case basis and provide them with shipping labels and those things. But that was a really big focus of ours as well, with students not being able to change, try things on and things like that. Really making sure that we had sizing charts and things as well on the line to make sure that we could limit this as much as possible. And then, overall flexibility. We're always figuring out new solutions. I think everyone could probably say that winter so far has gone better than their fall because they've just learned so much. So that's really just something that we're always focusing on and just continuing to be flexible in kind of in this manner. So I'll hand it over now to UBC.
Thanks, Madeline. So I think probably what you guys are going to hear from all of us is a lot of the same. So the number one thing for us, really, we have them listed in reverse order here, I think was the staffing problem. So we were anticipating this massive influx in online orders for September and looking at how are we going to handle that. The solution that we came up with actually was initially for September, we ended up taking about 100 or so food services staff who were on pay continuance and basically throwing those people at this problem. So we trained them on the fly on how to pick orders. And then during September, for the first 2 weeks of rush, we had shifts of anywhere from 10 to 15 people coming in several times a day to help us with the order volume. We learned some really good lessons from this. First of all, training is really important, and that's also why we put a lot of effort into training our in-store staff. But then also the assumption that this is a straightforward thing was not necessarily a valid assumption. And so there were some errors that came from having staff who never worked in a bookstore before doing this work. And so, that's something that we pivoted again for January and said, okay, let's do a better job with training our internal staff and seeing how that works. And for January, I want to say things went really smoothly. That's my impression with helping supervise the online store. The other big thing for us, I think, also was then the physical layout changes to our store. So we didn't really change where things are found in the store, but rather the traffic flow. So that's not just for customers, but for staff too, for us to help figure out, where to go in the store to pick and pack orders, but then also removing that in-store pickup portion away from the other portion of our store where we're actually processing orders was a really helpful component, because we removed the customer interruption component of, we're in our online store area trying to process orders and being interrupted constantly by customers looking for things or having questions from things. So by removing those two things, it made the flow of work a little more seamless for us as well. Laura?
I'll take over here. I'm Sasha. If you haven't, hello. So our biggest change was obviously moving from a retail to an online distribution model, as everyone probably experienced the same thing. And the volume in which we had to make those adjustments, as Laura said in her earlier presentation, we went from a couple thousand in September 2019 in terms of online orders to 24,000 this September. It was a tenfold increase, and it was substantial. It was welcomed. We were very happy with that. But it was very difficult initially to ensure that we were going to be successful. So we had to change several of our processes. We use Prism Core as our system of preference, maybe not choice, but that's just neither here nor there. And unfortunately, there are some limitations with Prism Core. So we had to adapt. There was very minimal integration in terms of our Purolator system. So we worked with Purolator, and we developed really good relationships with them to use their batching tool. And with Prism Core, we developed just quick reports that we were able to do batch ranges, and we would close en masse 500 orders at once, pre-close, pre-charge, before even a pick occurred, before the shelves were even looked at. So now it worked splendidly for the most part. And we, like everyone else with staffing, we had some issues as well. We had, new people that we hired on, temporary staff. We also had people that were redeployed to our store earlier in the year, and they were still learning on how a bookstore operates. And to be honest with you, even our current staff, our full-time staff, had to develop and transition to new processes and new methods and learn new skills that they've never had to do. And I have to say, they were amazing. They adapted very well. They took on jobs that weren't in their job descriptions. They just rolled up their sleeves and they contributed. It was a wonderful thing to see, and I want to commend. And I'm sure you feel the same way about all your staff as well. I think everyone really did a great job. So in terms of our operational needs, though, we had to change the way we actually laid out the store. We created a alphanumerical system for all our course material, so that when the orders were actually printed, the orders would have the course codes on them. It made it easier so that you wouldn't be running from one aisle to the next, because everything would be sorted under one course. So, and this was crucial when it came to the liberal arts courses, where you might have over 10 titles on one course. It was evident that it helped and sped up the process for us. And it also allowed us, on a health and safety note, to create separate areas. So people would be positioned in aisles based on their course areas. And we would distribute the pick sheets by aisle. And they would pick their orders, and then there would be packing stations where we'd have people isolated packing as well. Because at one point we had over 40 people per shift. And we did do 2 shifts during our September period to facilitate the orders. The beautiful part was that everything from the point that the customer placed the order to the point where The order came in, it was picked and packed and shipped out. It took us less than 24 hours on average to do that. And we also pre-sorted our Purolator packages based on region codes. So anyone within the Greater Toronto area was able to get their packages within 24 to 48 hours of the order being placed on average. And that was an amazing feat, because we were getting kudos from a lot of people saying, I can't believe I received my package faster than I would get it from, you know, the big A. We won't mention that company, but you know, it was fascinating to see. Now I'm going to go back to the staff, and I want to just reiterate how important it was, you know, and without their ability to adapt and to be fluid with our needs, none of this would have been possible. Absolutely none of it. Technology only goes so far. Processes only go so far, but you have to have the buy-in, and we had the buy-in. And again, I'm very proud of them. And I know a good example of that would be our customer service support team. And I'm going to sort of segue this onto Laura, where she could discuss this a little further in detail.
Thank you, Sasha. Let me see how things are working for me here. I will have to also share my screen at some point. I will just move a little around here and bring this screen now. So as I mentioned earlier, in September alone, we had to address 8,000 customer questions. And in a matter of weeks, it seems like an overwhelming number of questions. Sasha worked with the university IT department to incorporate the school's virtual assistant called Yubi, with a great deal of information about the bookstore, but we knew that was not enough, because lots of students, and especially the first-year students, will come our way. So to address the questions volume, Chad integrated a self-help tool named Guide Clearly, exactly in our website. So, and you can incorporate in this tool questions and answers and directions to different places on your website as you like. And again, this will filter so many questions before you have to dedicate a person to answer a question. So I want to show you a little bit, a few examples how this tool works. Let's say someone is trying to learn more about our refunds, has a refund question. So it will go to this tool on our site, and we'll have to go through a few other steps to be led to the proper answers. So again, let's say this customer wants to purchase something and wants to return an ebook. Obviously, and probably for your school, the same, ebooks and access codes are not returnable. And if this answer is not enough for the customer, then we invite the customer to go further down and basically read in more detail our refunds policy and so on. So another scenario would be when somebody wants to actually return a physical book. So this will have a different path. So let's say somebody purchased something that it's a recent purchase, less than 14 days now. So we are trying to make sure that the purchase that the customer made is not something that will qualify as final sale. So the customer would say no. We want to make sure that the book that the customer still has is in an original condition, and the customer will say yes. So based on these answers, we are telling the customer that they are eligible for a refund, and the next step is taking them to the instructions page where they can choose to either use our Dropbox for refunds, or follow the steps to send the book back by Canada Post. Now, these are very simple scenarios, but not all of these scenarios are simple. Sometimes we need someone to intervene to help with a customer question. The actual answer might not be on our website. So let's say someone has a question about an order they placed, wanting to cancel because they no longer want that order to arrive at their house. So obviously, it's an order that they already placed. And then we are asking them if they already received the order, and they haven't received it, obviously. So then we want the customer what kind of help they need, and they want a cancellation. We are explaining a few things about our ordering process, and we're trying to make sure that the customer has not received yet a shipping confirmation, and no, they have not received one. And again, we want to know exactly what kind of help they want. It's a cancellation. The customer, let's say in this case, chose shipping. And at this point, we are telling the customer that we might be able to help if the order has not shipped yet. And in order to help them, we will require more information that we will gather from this point, where basically they have to fill out this form with their information, with the order details, and once submitted, this form will create a ticket in a different system that we call Sharewell, and one of our customer service staff will work on this ticket until it is being closed. In September, we handled 3,500 issues, and on most days we were pretty much caught up with the customer tickets. What is great about this is that every customer question is being recorded in an organized way, with a small chance of being missed, and we can track the conversation until the issue is being solved. So we think it worked really, really well for us in this way. So to talk another service that we offered in September, that was the pick up in person by appointment. In order for us to do that, we used a platform called Calendly, and I want to also share my screen with this. And sorry. All right, and show you a little bit about this platform as well. It's a very, very simple platform. All righty, in September, we had over 2,000 orders picked up in person. And in order to make it safe, we allow this by appointment only. All appointments were booked through this platform called Calendly. In the customer's order confirmation email, we included a link to this platform so that the customer can schedule the appointment. So it's very simple. Our workflow was as follows. So we created 15-minute windows and allowed only 10 appointments for each window. And we only allowed people to book an appointment at least 24 hours in advance to allow us to prepare the orders, make sure they were all ready. So you can choose whatever window size fits your service and the number of appointments per window. And the dates you want to have appointments on, how many hours in advance someone can schedule an appointment, and so on. So you can put all these details in the edit group event type. So it's extremely simple. So just 1, 2, 3, and you have it. Other features of this platform. Oh, just to tell you a little bit more about our workflow. In our case, most people only waited 1 to 2 minutes when they came for their appointment. Everything was contactless. We had a staff member checking in the customers by asking for their web order number and checking their ID, and then directing them to the customer waiting area, where another staff member will be waiting with their order. Also, by handing out the order, the package through a plexi screen. All orders were shelved in advance by appointment window, very, very simple. You can, in the schedule events screen here, you can basically see all your events from different perspectives. For instance, you can see right now our upcoming events with how many appointments we have per window. You can go inside each window to see more details about the specific customers. You can, for instance, go and check a specific person and maybe try to reschedule or remove their appointment. For instance, we had customers who scheduled appointment for pickup, and it turned out their web order was for a digital book. So we canceled their appointment and we sent an email to explain why we canceled the appointment. It's always good to make sure you know the appointments are scheduled for the right product, so you can cancel an appointment that's not necessary to allow somebody else to schedule an appointment. So you can look again at all these individual windows. You can run reports by date range. You can export your entire list so you can prepare for your next day or whenever you have appointments scheduled. So very, very simple. In the workflows screen, you can see that you have all sorts of automated and custom communication options. For instance, we had a reminder email going out 4 hours prior to each appointment time. But as you can see, there are lots of options here, and you can customize this based on your needs for the service. And I'm going to go back now to the PowerPoint. And if we don't have any questions here, we can move to the next section.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Laura. We want to make sure we have time for questions. So we are going to just speed things up here a little bit. So for the next question, what process improvements would you continue to use after students return on campus? So I think this is important for everyone to think about in that, our reality may never go back to normal, or we may always have a version of this. So from my perspective, I personally love the web order fulfillment, the way we can lay out the floor now, because students aren't coming into the store. We, our our receiving and our layout of our course materials can be so much more efficient. You don't have to take out as many books. You can kind of organize them in a way that makes sense for you to fulfill them and not so much from a customer standpoint. We used to sort things alphabetically by course code, but now we don't have to do that as long as it makes sense for our internal teams. We also are able to catch a lot of errors with student orders while we're fulfilling them because we're familiar with the products. So I'm finding that there's a lot of less returns and exchanges happening because we are kind of in control of that person's order and can follow up with students when we find any questions. And I also love the ability of how easily we can help students, especially in our inclusive access program through Zoom help sessions. This is not something we offered in the past. We never had like drop-in classes or anything like that, other than students coming to the store. But I think that's something we'll always keep are these Zoom help sessions because they're super accessible for students no matter where they're learning. You can kind of offer them at various times. So those are two things that I would love to see continue to do after, we return to some sort of normalcy. Over to Louisa.
Thanks, Madeline. So for UBC, one thing we're going to continue to do is lean into that cross-training. And so not just the online store, but I think eventually as we move forward to other components of the store as well, we found that this was something that was really accessible to all staff and easily completed from anywhere because it's online. I did have one question about whether or not Raytex provided us any help with this. This was something that we did completely ourselves, but anyone who was a Raytex school, I am more than happy to share with you the content that we put together if that's something that might be helpful to you. And then the other thing that we are definitely moving forward with is we now have a small team of staff who are dedicated to maintaining the GM content on our website. So we have 2 part-time staff that are supervised by myself, and we work closely with the buyers and the retail floor to make sure that we're getting things up in a timely manner. And so moving forward, we think that's going to be a real key to success for us as well.
Thanks, Louisa. So for us, I think if things get back to normal, we'll still probably not go to a full retail environment. We'll probably look at something in a hybrid sense where it's retail distribution with obviously web order pickup by appointment being a key component to this. It allows us to control our inventory better. It reduces shrink, especially in course material, as we could all attest to. And it serves the students better because it's just a lot more manageable. It's not chaos in September where you get so many people flooding through the store. And the other aspect is our virtual customer service, our CRS. I definitely think we'll continue to leverage that. Yesterday, there were some people that were doing virtual chat, and I thought that was fascinating. And I thought, that was something we discussed after that session, the breakout session, and it's something that maybe we would look at integrating in some form into our virtual customer service as well. And then in terms of rethinking in-store services, again, it ties into our hybrid model where if it's a retail distribution, how do we, staff in terms of, that model? We haven't figured that component out yet because we're not there. But it'll be an interesting road. And I think we're all traveling that road together in some form. And it's scary, but it's also fun. It's like, I can't wait to get there. That's the truth about it. All right, thank you.
All right, our next question that we're going to answer is, how did you decide whether to offer free shipping, and did you continue it in subsequent semesters? And how did you address international orders? So for Conestoga, this was a pretty easy one. So our college administration made the decision not to burden the students with any shipping costs because of the environment that we're in. So we do all free shipping, no matter where you live, no matter what you buy. And so of course that has, cost us a lot of money. But one of the really amazing things that we are so lucky to have at Conestoga is a large inclusive access program. So to answer the question about international orders, is a lot of our students that are learning abroad right now, all of their materials are digitally delivered to them. And so we have handfuls of international orders a semester because everything's already delivered to them in their LMS course shells, which you can learn more about at the digital course materials delivery session next week. Just a plug. But so yes, so that's how we do it. Free shipping for everyone. It's a really nice thing to be able to say. And so the college supported us in that decision. So it made it easy for us.
Oh, I'm next. For us, there were two things that we decided to offer free shipping. The reasons we decided was, one, it was important that we were competitive. That was something we looked at. And the second thing is we analyzed the cost of actually staffing a full retail environment. On average, we would have over 60 cashiers during our September period, where we would have to train, and then we would have to, those training sessions are paid even though there's nothing going on. And so we looked at the cost of footing the bill, and it actually turned out that the free shipping was very, very reasonable for us. Now, for international orders, on the other hand, we did not offer free shipping. We received several hundred international orders, and that was just not financially feasible for us, especially when we didn't have a limit or a cap on free shipping. So we just thought, okay, we will do Canada free, and anything else we charged accordingly for international.
This question of how do you leverage social media or customer communications to drive online sales, I corresponded with our marketing manager on this one because our response to this is rather multifaceted. To try and keep it brief, one of the things we did is we connected our website to our social media. So in Instagram, if there's a post regarding, a post with a student wearing a sweater and a hat or holding a notebook or whatever, we are able to link from Instagram to our website to purchase those items. We had some really strong advertising campaigns and promoted posts, which helped drive sales. And so an example of that is, for instance, with our on-demand faculty sweaters, we had marketing campaigns around that for 1 week, if students liked and subscribed and shared the post, then they were eligible to win a free sweater. And then following those campaigns, we would then have a 1 to 2 week sale on faculty sweaters. So if you didn't get your free sweater, you can still purchase one for 20% off, for instance. We also worked really closely with the GM buying team to have a calendar of every week a new sale or promotion that we were going to do. This helped us stay on track and be a little more proactive instead of reactive. And so planning well in advance what we're going to promote and mark down, and tying that into also our inventory management to see, okay, what are things that we need to move? How can we leverage this to promote sales online? And then also our newsletter subscriptions were a big part of that we targeted those people as well for promotions and campaigns.
Right. So for York, the situation is a little bit different. Our social media presence is very small at the moment, and we know the importance of it and hope that with some changes we can get the skills we need to ramp it up. What worked incredibly well for us is a traditional email marketing. So our current list has close to 52,000 individual addresses, and we are using it regularly, but of course we're ensuring we're not becoming annoying. So we are using Constant Contact for our email campaigns. Our open rates are at over 50%, and the click rates are also in the double digits. After each promo email, we see an immediate bump in our web orders. So we can basically assess the communication success right away. We have also a communication schedule, and that includes generic promotions and special offers such as coupons. Most recently, in order to encourage early purchases of winter term course materials, we offered a 40% off general merchandise coupon on orders placed prior to January 5th. This definitely increased the number of orders that we received. And with this was not our idea. Actually, with this occasion, we want to send a special thank you to this coupon idea to Shannon from University of Calgary store. So she's here and hears us. Thank you very, very much for sharing this idea with the CSE board members. Thank you.
So I think that is the presentation in total. I have to say, I'm sure everybody's mind is just going woof, because there are so many things. The chat box has been very active, which is exactly what we want to see. And questions, I think Greg's kept on top of them. I think most have been in the chat box, to be truthful. So we do have a few minutes, we have 27 minutes to be exact. So if there are questions that you want to ask, Greg, do you want them to raise hands in the chat? What would you like?
It's probably easier if they put them in the question and answer, the Q&A spot.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And Tina already has one question in there, and that's for Laura, and it was, what is the name of the self-help tool used to address 8,000 customer inquiries? I don't know if that got answered or not, but...
No, I haven't had the chance. It's called Guide Clearly.
Thanks, Laura. Actually, Chad was able to put that in for me, and I've been looking up, and it looks really interesting. I'm curious, another question I put in just in the chat side was, would you have any documentation that you developed kind of like that in terms of the questions that would be programmed into Guide Clearly and kind of the rationale or decision making that goes behind that? Like if you ask this, then you go here and ask this and that kind of thing. Am I asking that clearly enough?
Yeah. So actually, we looked at what generally our customers would ask, and they are kind of questions that pretty much every store is getting. So the good part about this is that you can actually copy and paste everything that's on our website now, all those questions with different, options. That entire tree you can copy and paste it, and then maybe adapt it to a few more things that are specific to your store. But generally, like, you're just thinking about what are your store's policies and how do you want to guide the customer to that particular place so they go and get the answers there, as opposed to having to have someone answer these questions when the answer is on the website. So you're muted.
I'm sorry about that. Were there any concerns about it being a U.S. company?
Excuse me, can you ask the question again?
Oh, sure. Were there any concerns about it being a United States company versus a Canadian company?
No, this was free. It was very easy to use. I'm sure there are other similar platforms that you can use, probably even better. But for us, it was something that we looked at and implemented in a very short period of time. We wanted to see how it works in September, and because it worked so well, so we didn't make the change.
I would like to also add to that, in terms of being an American company, none of the choices, no one's putting in personal information. So none of it's being collected. All it is a tree that we allow students to go through to find the answers that they're looking for. And at the end of that, if they're unable to find the answer, what we've done, we've actually built MAC forms on our ends, on the back ends, so that we've integrated them into our website. So it looks like it's a part of that whole component, but you get a pop-up with a MAC form that at that point, that's when the student's putting information in, but that's all on the university server. It's not on any other servers. So we had a break there. So in terms of privacy, that wasn't going to be an issue for anyone, if that was the concern.
Thank you very much. I'll certainly be looking into it. Really appreciate this. This whole presentation was fabulous. Thanks to all of you.
Okay, we have another question from Emily, Emily Durr. Laura, were there issues with implementing Guide Clearly on your website, such as integration or privacy?
No, and as Sasha mentioned, so Guide Clearly is really a self-help tool. So it works. It's integrated with our website only to that point to guide the customer to the right place on our website where the specific policy is. So when there is a need for interaction with our staff, the customer will have to fill out that MAC form. And at that point, Guide Clearly is no longer in that place. So it moves to this other system that we call Sharewell. It's a system that's being used for our school in other departments as well. So it's run by our IT department. And every information there that's being stored, it's something that complies to our school. So again, there is absolutely no privacy concern on this part. I hope I answered the question.
Okay, and we got another question from Carrie Tanaka. When you processed, this is for Sasha. When you processed your orders in batches, how did you accommodate for substitutions?
We didn't. So the idea was when the orders were put in, we didn't do subs at the beginning. So if someone ordered a used copy of something and we didn't have that used copy, we just didn't have the ability to facilitate contact with the student. So what we did, we just canceled that component of that order. It's unfortunate, and then in our messaging, we basically said that on the cancellation. And it's just something we had to do in September because of the volume. And when you're dealing with 3,000 orders, there's no way you could properly go through and assess each one.
Okay, perfect. The next question was from Melanie for Laura, wondering what kind of coupons you offer. Were they dated and on select items?
No, they were basically, the coupon codes were just emailed to those who qualified. They were generated in our web Prism system, but no, so there was nothing physical mailed to customers. It was just a code that was emailed.
Okay. And next question was from Christopher. For the appointment software, what do you do if customers show up early, late, or not at all?
We are ensuring we're safe first, but it never happens to really have a lineup. If somebody shows up a little bit earlier, it's not a problem. As I said, everything is shelved by appointment window, so we would know exactly where to go to pick up that, to get the order, to retrieve the order for the customer. It happened a lot, and obviously we didn't want to make people wait. It's very easy to accommodate.
Okay, and Christopher had a follow-up. Do you have lots of orders that sit that are not picked up?
Not that many, no, but there are some from one day to another. We at the end of the day, we shelve them by order number, and it's very easy for us to find them if a customer comes a few days later.
I kind of want to jump in on that one because we actually have the opposite in our store. We have a lot of orders that do sit for a while and don't get picked up. And so that's something that we're actually working on tackling right now. And we kind of have two approaches to it. So one of those is if it's within the last 60 days or so, we're going to be contacting those customers to say, come pick it up. And if you don't come pick it up, we're going to ship it to you and we're going to charge you for shipping. And then the ones that are older, we're looking at basically offering them the option to return it, basically because we just want to get that inventory either out to the customer if they still want it, or put it back on the shelves so that it's not taking up space in our online store. And then we can do that either by phone, or we have a mail merge approach to that as well. We can effectively take those order numbers, pull the contact info, and then just send a mass email to the customers. We find that whenever we do send one of those mail merge communications out to the customers to say, hey, you forgot to pick up your stuff, we have a huge influx of people coming in. So I don't know, I don't actually understand the customer perspective of that, where you order something and never go pick it up. But a lot of these people are genuinely just forgetting to come get their things. And when we remind them, they're like, oh, whoops, and they come and get it. So that's how we're trying to tackle some of that.
Okay, the next question was from Sabrina. Transitioning from a retail experience to an online world has challenged us to think differently about how we promote our products and discounts. Do you have any online promotions that you run this year which have worked really well? No answers? No question?
Sorry, the question disappeared as soon as you said it.
Yeah, I saw
I
that.
didn't catch all of it.
My bad. I'll paraphrase for you guys. It's did you guys have any particular online sales campaigns that worked particularly well throughout this year? Like, what was your best one, I guess?
I can speak for us. Our most successful campaign was actually for something that didn't even have a discount. When we promoted our on-demand faculty hoods, we had such a high demand right after. So like hundreds and hundreds of orders were coming in, and we started to dread over the weekend the following Monday because we came to a very, very high volume. So everything did well, and as I said, like our email marketing did, like always, generated hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of orders right after we sent those emails. Every promotion did well. I think all the discounts that we offered were very well received, from the graduation, merchandise to back to school, our high volume campus collection. But I think that finding what the customer actually wants is the right thing. Thinking about what yesterday in the keynote was kind of highlighted. So it's very important to basically showcase on our sites what the customers actually want, and also promote those things.
I think we can echo that for UBC as the most successful promotions and campaigns we've done. Anytime we mark anything down 20 to 25% off, those things are wildly popular. And to tack onto what Laura was saying, I process those. We have a similar program at UBC where it's the on-demand custom faculty sweaters. So for our system, a customer can go online, purchase one of 6 styles basically that mimic our classic tackle twill hoods, and put any faculty, department, program they want on there. So it's not limited. They can customize that. We police it to make sure that it's appropriate and within branding guidelines. But anytime we mark those sweaters down, those orders shoot through the roof. The last time we did a 20% sale for 2 weeks, and I could barely keep up with the orders and submitting those. So upwards of 200 or more in a week. And so those are things that I think making the more personalized items for customers more accessible for sure was really successful for us.
Okay, there's one more question there from Ida. It's for Louisa. Roughly how often do you use the promote feature on Instagram, and how effective is it? How do you gauge the effectiveness of the promoted post versus regular post?
That's a really good question, Etta. I will say that for our Instagram post, I want to say roughly half of them have that ability to click through and go to our website. In terms of gauging the effectiveness, that is a challenge that we are still trying to tackle, because currently our marketing department is separate from the sales portion of the store. So trying to link promotions like that through Instagram back to their success rate is difficult. We are able to analyze click-through rates on things and kind of get a general idea, but we don't right now, to my knowledge, have like a tried and true tracking method for those. I would love to hear from another school if they do.
Does anybody out there want to respond to that? Just a note that Madeline put up there on the Q&A. It's not a question per se, but it's just a note that yes, we can use MemberSpace to create various user groups. There's one already there for bookware. So if you go into your MemberSpace mail or email, you can also see some messages. Steve posted a message there just to let him know, and he can move you into the appropriate group.
I also just threw up a link in chat for any of you guys that want to go and answer that question. If you reply, I'll put you in the right groups.
There is Jason, you had a question. Would you happen to have an idea what average cost per item or percent profit loss would be due to free shipping, to the free shipping model?
Hey, that's a great question. I don't have an exact percent profit loss per se for that. And it varies based on, sometimes people buy a $1 item and we ship it for $5. I'd say our average shipping cost within Canada is about $5. So I don't have a good answer for you, Jason. I'm so sorry about the exact percentage of profit loss, but I would be happy to find that information out and send you a note. So I've made a note to do that.
All right, thanks, Madeline.
Thanks, Madeline.
Sorry,
Go
I
ahead.
just want to add to that profit loss. In terms of the York University Bookstore, our average order in shipping orders was about $110, $115, give or take. So, and our average ship cost was about $5, just to give you a sense of what it was costing us. But like I said earlier, because we had less staff that we required for the September that we normally would be paying for cashiers, if you take that into account, it's actually a lot less. So the loss itself is less than what it looks like at first glance.
Okay, perfect. Loda, you had your hand up. Do you have some? Do you want me to come back to you?
No, that's okay. I'm just having my lunch. Hannah will be covering quite detailed how we follow up all the Instagram posts and sales from our digital marketing campaigns tomorrow. And if she doesn't cover that in her presentation, please ask her, because we go through them every Thursday. We look at exactly how much we spend on digital marketing, how many clicks we have, how many sales we have done, what is direct sales, what are indirect sales. That's the half an hour that we spend in every week on our marketing meeting. So we follow everything. And we do a lot of segmented campaigns as well. So we kind of say, whoever has a UFT affiliation, whoever does. I know the McMasters did something that they targeted everybody who was called McMaster, which I thought was a brilliant campaign. Obviously, we can't do that, but you can follow up them really, really carefully. So I think that's for the target for tomorrow for you to hear what she's saying about that.
That's a great plug for tomorrow's session. You don't want to miss it. Katrina, you had a question for Laura. What methods have you used to grow your email database to 52,000?
Right. So I can answer that through an email if it's possible. But what I can say is that there are certain rules around how you are allowed to use for a certain period of time all the emails that you gathered from your web orders and so on. So, but you have to definitely clearly do some homework around how you are allowed to use all these emails for all this information for email marketing. But it's a very simple way to literally bump your email list very, very high.
Okay, perfect. Does anybody else have any other questions? You can speak out. You can.
Or any shares that they've done that our panel wasn't able to touch on. Because I think this is a great chance for people to kind of share their successes or their frustrations as well. But I think the panel has touched on so many great ideas that I've seen people madly writing down and chatting with them. But anything else, Greg, in the chat?
Don't see anything.
No, Imelda has her hand up.
Am I?
And Edda.
Okay, I'm talking, so can't see myself, so I'm not sure. Good morning or afternoon, everybody. I had a question. I guess it's more for York. With how are you able to with payment processing? Like, are you able to take student accounts, like besides credit cards as well in your system? Because I'm also Nebraska, and we were having issues with that this year. So I'm just curious about what payment methods you accept for online.
We were able to integrate student accounts into our system. It surprisingly took a long time, but then when we had to get it done, it was like less than 10 days. It was the strangest turn of events because, COVID just seems to expedite everything that everyone's doing. And it breaks down barriers and walls that you might have hit before. And we were fortunate enough that because of it was almost like a step-by-step process. So initially with our student orders, the student card orders, we weren't able to process directly. We had to actually take those and then use the student system to actually put those in. But that was taking forever, as you can imagine, because it was one at a time. And then at one point, because we were doing that, somehow on our student services group and our UIT, they were able to set up a separate account that was never existent there. And because of that new account that was set up, and we were then able to integrate WinPrism directly to that account to bleed the funds from the students' accounts. So it was really like partial luck and really trying to get a solution. It was a combination of the two.
Imelda, it's Kathy from KPU. So we just within the last day or two have fairly successfully managed to accept debit credit cards. I've asked Nebraska to just give me a week to make sure that there's no unseen hiccups, as happened to me in the past with Share 4. So we're very, very close, and you should be very, very close. I think they just want to make sure that, like I said, there's no hiccups, but we have successfully accepted a few debit card payments now, and we're in Nebraska. So
Thanks, that's helpful.
I think somebody else had their hand up.
Heather? I think did.
I was just genuinely curious, what were the rates of returns like, especially in comparison to like previous operations in store? Was it significantly lower, higher? Did anyone even look at those? Just curious.
Does anybody have an answer to that one?
Truthfully, I don't have a real answer to that. I don't have a numbered answer. I do see the returns coming in, and from what I see, and this is more of a the gut check type of thing. It's lower than it would be, but I haven't analyzed the rate of returns for York.
To add to that from Conestoga, the fall we really did struggle with a lot of returns on scrubs. A lot of students were buying like larger sizes. I think it's just due to them not being able to try it on. So we did some surveys in the meantime to ask students who did purchase if they're comfortable providing some more information about what size they ended up with, so that we could make more comprehensive sizing charts that just said, the average person that was this tall and weighed this much bought this size, just to guide people. And this semester has been a lot better that way. But I would say our course material returns are a lot lower because we are kind of vetting them as we fulfill the orders a little bit to an extent. And also just the different notes we have now online are kind of helping. So again, I don't have a numbered answer, but that's some context.
Same here for UBC. We don't have a hard statistic on that, but I would say it's the same, if not a little bit lower, to previous semesters. And we've done something similar to Conestoga, where we have sizing charts available for all the clothing items now online, and then the same with vetting online orders for course materials. So just taking a more careful approach to that on the front end has helped reduce some of those returns.
Awesome. Well, we're at 11:29. I think we're good, Greg.
We are, yeah.
Okay, perfect. This was a perfect session for today to kick everything off. A few glitches at the beginning, but I think everybody pulled it off amazingly. I just want to say thank you to Laura, Sasha, Miss Madeline, and our Louisa for doing such a great job on this. This was a tough topic to tackle, because we literally have had to reinvent retail and collegiate retail. And that's a different beast all in itself versus regular retail. So thank you for this. I think everybody has got some really amazing ideas. And I think we each all have our own successes and, night terror stories that maybe replay in our mind every now and again. But I think overall it was an excellent presentation. And I just want to say that CSC is also going to be making a $500 donation to, the board is just in voting on which charity we're choosing, but we're pretty sure it has to do with books. So that's good. A $500 donation. So again, wanted to say thank you for everybody participating and for everybody attending. Up next is the most exciting time. Is our annual general meeting. I know everybody can just pass out in their chairs. It's lunch, I'm sure, everywhere, but really it's not. So that starts at 2:00 Eastern time. So adjust
29 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much in half an hour. So please, 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 if you are a voting member, please be there so that, we can't sway people to our way or can't have things approved. So please make your way there, grab something to eat, or, you know, come on and eat at the meeting. And again, just wanted to say thanks for coming. It was a wonderful day. So we'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.